Welcome back. So this is part 2 of making our homemade honey whole wheat sandwich bread. So this is where I'm going to show you how to form the rolls and I'll give you a couple tips on that part of the process.
We're going to form our rolls. Yay, it's been about an hour, so I'm going to pull the dough out of its warm little cozy nook here in the oven with just the light on. So I don't know. Okay, you can see. So it's totally doubled in size and it's risen almost to the top here, which is what we want. So I'm going to set this on the counter. You can grab it on our Catch page, catch.me/Melissa K. Norris. So this is our 2 loaves. So I've got 2 pans here. This is just a metal one and this is a nice ceramic. I love this one. It's kind of vintagey. So I use parchment paper when I'm baking. That way my loaves don't stick to it, and I reuse parchment paper over and over again. So I will use this same parchment paper to probably bake at least 5 different loaves of bread. So I love my parchment paper. So what we want to do is we want to take our dough here and we're going to punch it down. So we punch it down and you can see it deflates. Okay, so we've got that punched down. And then I just kind of pull it, hoping you guys can see this. I just kind of pull the main part of the dough away from the sides of the bowl. And it's still, as you can see, it's a little bit tacky. And as we talked about in part 1, we want it that way because this is with freshly ground whole wheat. And we want it a little bit sticky so that we get a nice, soft bread and end product and not a hard, dense one. So I'm going to finish pulling that. And then I take a little bit of olive oil and put it on the counter. When I form, I'm going to show you 2 ways to form the roll. So this is for one way. The first way you wouldn't need to do this step, but it's up to you. We'll kind of do a side-by-side comparison. So I just put a little bit down on the counter. A bit more here. And this is just regular organic extra virgin olive oil. So that's just so it doesn't stick too bad. So I don't do by weight. I just gauge and just put this in 2 so that your loaves are fairly, I just divide it in 2 so that your loaves are fairly much the same size. So, okay. So when I'm doing the 1 loaf, and this loaf pan here is a little bit smaller, so I usually take a little bit less dough for that pan, and I just pull it over and under so that I'm creating a smooth surface on top. So this is the top of the loaf, what's going to be the top of the loaf. And I just kind of elongate it. How's that for a big word, right? Try to spit that out. And pull it so it's fairly smooth on top. And then I just set it right in the loaf pan there. So there is option 1. Let's get my parchment paper down in there. So this is going to go back in my oven that has the light on, just the light, because it keeps it nice and warm. And we want it to start to rise up and come up over the top and for our loaf. So we're going to let this rise. So I will put that back in, actually right now. Okay, so now we're just going to dump the rest of our dough right there where we oiled it on the counter. Scrape a little bit that's left, a little bit of tidbits left in our bowl. And we're going to kind of smooth this out to a rectangular shape, kind of like basically just like if you were making cinnamon rolls. So we're going to just kind of pat that out, and then we're going to roll it up. So you just kind of roll it up just like you would a cinnamon roll log. And there, we're going to put this right in the loaf pan. So it's just kind of rolled like a thick cinnamon roll, not a thin one. And so now this is just going to go right in nice, tidy, lovely in our oven here to finish rising as well. So those are the 2 basic ways that you just form a roll. And they're both pretty easy and simple. So I'm going to let those rise. I'm going to set the timer in the oven, and we're going to let those rise for about, I'm going to set it for like 40 minutes, and then we'll check it. Because when your dough is rising, you want it to rise up and double, but you don't want it to over-rise where it starts to fall and deflate before you get it baking. What I will do is I will bring it back on when I pull them out of the oven so we can get to see the finished product, right? Because that's what it's all about. And then we can see which loaf, the way that they turned out. One just using where you just hand pull it, the other where we roll it up. So you can just kind of see the difference between the two and which would be your preference.